My truck needs a little cleaning out, but hey, that's what happens. Anyway, my radio in here, the mobile. This is a President Lincoln Plus 2. It has a lot of features on there that I don't use, and a lot of them I'm not really smart enough to use. But it has a ton of channels. We're on normal CB band now. It also has a scan feature, and it has a bunch of different echo and noise cancellation, Roger beep. It has a dual channel watch where you can flip back and forth between two channels. It has an automatic squelch control you can use, or you can still manually do it. This has AM, FM, and it also has upper and lower sideband. We're in AM right now. And you have a clarifier for that. And there's a bunch of different menu, bunch of different things that I'm not exactly sure on. But I have the screen set up right here where you see your, what do you call them? Like the megahertz, things like that. And I've got it set to where when you key it, it'll show your SWR. We're running 1.1 on channel 40. And come down on 1. We are running 10. So that's close enough for me. I'm happy with that. If you run it somewhere in the middle, still 10. But anyway, like I said, it has a lot of features. It's a good, powerful radio. I've had good luck with it. It's got a bunch of different menus, color change, all that type of stuff. Radios like this, a lot of people will use inside as a base station with a power supply. And I'll try to find a picture of that and put it in the video or something like that. But I have a different one. I have a radio in all our vehicles, and all of them are different. This one here is a President brand, Lincoln 2. The one in my wife's car is a President Ronald, which is a smaller radio. It's probably only about that big, but it talks and receives is about as good as this one. It does not have sideband. It just has AM, FM, and like upper and lower channels of that. This one here, you can change your little icon over in here and get like half channels and stuff. But anyway, this is kind of a just what I'm running at the moment. In my other truck, I have a General Lee brand, which is basically just a Galaxy. It's bought out by Galaxy, and they make it, and they still put the General Lee name on it, but it's basically just a Galaxy. You can do pretty good with a regular like Cobra or Uniden or something like that. Let's see, there we go. They're pretty good radios. If you don't know anything about radio stuff, it's a big rabbit hole you can go down. You can basically, it's a bunch of groups and more videos, more in depth, but you can get different amplifiers which may or may not be legal in your area. You can also get your radio itself peaked and tuned to put out a little bit more. Mine in the truck there is putting out about 50 watts. The one in the house, the base station, is about 40. It's an older base station, so it doesn't have the capabilities that has, but it still has the like upper and lower sidebands and stuff like that. And I I think the General Lee is running about 35 watts, and the President Reagan, Ronald, that's in the other vehicle, I think that's running 35 watts, something like that. Homestead truck. Just got a Magnet Wilson 1000 and tuned the SWR. And here's my antenna. A buddy of mine's really into radios made it. I'm not smart enough to make one myself yet, but we got one going straight up as the vertical all around, and then one of those legs there is a beam, and that motor there turns it so you can point it, focus your signal to a certain direction. Alright y'all, this is kind of my base station setup that I got. I got the Galaxy Saturn here, and got a noise canceling mic. This is a antenna box where you can switch between the antennas. Mine is 2 in 1, as I said. Running vertical right now, straight up and down, kind of a local deal. Horizontal, where you can kind of move the antenna around and focus your beam in one place, which is what that does. It's just an old TV turner. This mic here is just for looks. It does still work, but it's not the best. It's kind of real scratchy and hard to hear, so I don't use it anymore. This one here is a little meter. It lets you read your SWR and how much watts you're putting out and things like that. And over here is kind of a help me box, we'll say. But anyway, this is kind of the radio. You calibrate here. You can check your SWR by the radio itself by doing that. So, and there's other smaller meters and stuff you can use. This is Roger Beep, which I don't use that. I hate a Roger Beep. Echo, I don't run that. And I think this tone knob dials in your echo. This here, I'm not sure what that does. I think it kind of gives you an off frequency, kind of like a half channel type deal. But this is your RF gain, which is like your signal pulling in, I believe, and then mic gain is putting out, and over here the RF power is putting out as well with the power of the radio. Then you have your different bands here, which changes your frequencies. This here is band D for me, I think it is. But this is the standard CB channels, the 27 megahertz. I'm not exactly sure where it starts and ends. I'm not all up to date on all that, but running it in AM. It does have FM, CW, upper sideband, and lower sideband. I do recommend, if you're getting a base station, have ones with sideband, because you can get a lot more range out of them, and there are a lot more private channels. Even like changing here, a lot of radios, especially the old ones, don't have the different channels, frequencies in there, bands really. A lot of the newer ones, like the Presidents and stuff that I got in the truck, does have that. Then you got squelch, where you can kind of dial out some of your background noise. And then here, the RF gain for this is just volume, as you can hear. Then this control over here lets you dial your frequency down to like some half channel type stuff. And then this dials in your clarity for when you're running sideband. So far I haven't heard anybody talking at the moment to give you a demonstration, but that's kind of what I got. This is just a regular base station. They're old and bulky and things like that. You can get a mobile radio like in the pickup and a power supply to run it, which would be a box like one of these. These are not a power supply, but you know, it'll be an extra little box that you plug in the wall, and then you hook your mobile wires into that and run your radio, and then you can just use a base station antenna off of a mobile radio and that power supply, and you can do the same thing in a smaller package. As a matter of fact, the President Lincoln that I showed you in my pickup, it outperforms this. It has more features and it has more straight out of the box power. Now you can, there we go, we'll move over here to do the rest of the talking, get a little more comfortable. But there you can, if you have the knowledge, which if you knew all that with the radio stuff, you probably wouldn't be watching me because I don't know that much about it, but you can, you know, peak and tune your own radios and different things like that. If you know that, I got a buddy of mine that knows all that, and I rely on him for that. But you can find electronic shops and CB shops around in your local area probably that will do that. If not, if you get on like groups on Facebook, there's a ton of CB and amateur radio groups and things like that. If you find somebody in your area, maybe they'll do it for you, you know. But you can tune them a lot and get a lot more performance out of a, you know, standard radio. And then I'm not sure all of your local laws and everything like that regarding radios. You can get amplifiers and things like that to boost your CB signal and everything. So like I said, that's at your own discretion. Look into it and decide what you want to do with that. But anyway, I think CB is still a pretty helpful thing. I have this base in here, and I want to put a CB in my side-by-side too. So if you're like out and about, you can still communicate home. We have them in the vehicles where, if, you know, the phone lines go down, if somebody's at home, they can use the base, or if we're both in vehicles, we can use the CBs like that. Like I said, there will be instances that the CB won't work, like complete grid down, EMP, something like that. Also, if you lose your power at home, at your house, you know, the base station won't work. And, you know, if your vehicle is still crank and run and has power, your CB should work. So that may be beneficial to you too. A lot of CBs have the weather band channels in them too. If you do a mobile in your house or whatever, you can use the weather band on that to kind of figure out what's going on. And there's a lot of benefits to them, in my opinion. So it may be something you need to look into and figure out exactly what you want for what you plan to do with it, and decide what your best options are. But like I said, give it some thought. Maybe something you need to get into as an alternate means of communication for SHTF, or, you know, just normal instances. If you have them in your vehicles and you take a lot of family trips or whatever, and you have to take 2 or 3 vehicles, and you can talk back and forth and not have to be on the phone all the time type of thing. So maybe that'll help you out. So that's what I got. That's what I'm running. Stay prayed up, prepped up, and strapped up. See ya.